Really at stake in this debate, point blank, is the shape of our constitutional system for the next generation. And the nuclear option is a twofer. It excises independence from our courts and at the same time emasculates the Senate. Put simply, the nuclear option would transform the Senate from the so-called cooling saucer our founding fathers talked about to cool the passions of the day to a pure majoritarian body like a parliament. We've heard a lot in recent weeks about the rights of the majority and obstructionism, but the Senate is not meant to be a place of pure majoritarianism. Is majority rule what you really want? Do my Republican colleagues really want majority rule in this Senate? Well, let me remind you, 44 of us Democrats represent 161 million people. 161 million Americans voted for these 44 Democrats. You know how many Americans voted for the 55 of you? 131. If this were about pure majorities, my party represents more people in America than the Republican Party does. But that's not what it's about. Wyoming, the home state of the vice president of this body, gets one senator for every 246,000 citizens. California gets one senator for 17 million Americans. More Americans voted for President Gore than they did Bush. By majoritarian logic, Gore won the election. The Republicans control the Senate, and they've decided that they're going to change the rule. At its core, the filibuster is not about stopping a nominee or a bill. It's about compromise and moderation. That's why the founders put unlimited debate in. When you have to, and I have never conducted a filibuster, but if I did, the purpose would be you have to deal with me as one senator. It doesn't mean I get my way. It means you may have to compromise. You may have to see my side of the argument. That's what it's about. Engendering compromise and moderation. Ladies and gentlemen, the nuclear option extinguishes the power of independents and moderates in this Senate. That's it. They're done. Moderates are important only if you need to get 60 votes to satisfy cloture. They are much less important if you need only 50 votes. I understand the frustration of my Republican colleagues. I've been here 32 years, most of the time in the majority. And whenever you're in the majority, it's frustrating to see the other side block a bill or a nominee you support. I've walked in your shoes, and I get it. I get it so much that what brought me to the United States Senate was the fight for civil rights. My state, to its great shame, was segregated by law, was a slave state. I came here to fight it. But even I understood, with all the passion I felt as a 29-year-old kid running for the Senate, the purpose of extended debate. Getting rid of the filibuster has long-term consequences. And if there's one thing I've learned in my years here, once you change the rules and surrender the Senate's institutional power, you never get it back. And we're about to break the rules to change the rules. I don't want to hear about fair play from my friends. Under our rules, you're required to get a 2/3 vote. 60 votes to change the rules. Watch what happens. Watch what happens when the majority leader stands up and says to the vice president, if we go forward with this, and he calls the question. And one of us, I expect our leader, the Democratic side, will stand up and say, parliamentary inquiry, Mr. President, is this parliamentarily appropriate? And in every other case since I've been here for 32 years, the presiding officer leans down to the parliamentarian and says, what's the rule, Mr. Parliamentarian? The parliamentarian turns and tells him, hold your breath, parliamentarian. He's not going to look to you because he knows what you would say. He would say, this is not parliamentarily appropriate. You cannot change the Senate rules by a pure majority vote. So if any of you think I'm exaggerating, watch on television. Watch when this happens. And watch the vice president. Ignore. He's not required to look to an unelected officer. But that has been the practice for 218 years. He will not look down and say, what is the ruling? He will make the ruling, which is a lie about the rule. Isn't what really is going on here? The majority doesn't want to hear what others have to say, even if it's the truth. Senator Moynihan, my good friend who I served with for years, said, you're entitled to your own opinion, but not your own facts. The nuclear option abandons America's sense of fair play. It's the one thing this country stands for, not tilting the playing field on the side of those who control and own the field. I say to my friends on the Republican side, you may own the field right now, but you won't own it forever. And I pray God when the Democrats take back control, we don't make the kind of naked power grab you are doing, but I'm afraid you will teach my new colleagues the wrong lessons. We're the only Senate in the Senate as temporary custodians of the Senate, but the Senate will go on. And I can see my time is up. Let me conclude by saying, again, mark my words. History will judge this Republican majority harshly, if it makes this catastrophic move. I yield the floor.